The Super Mario series is basically made for all ages, being as kid-friendly as they come, to be honest. It's Nintendo after all. However, in the world of the Mushroom Kingdom, we do see some weird places that can totally creep Mario out. One example of this is the ghost houses, which are actually seen all over the world, completely filled to the brim with cursed beings. However, after going through these buildings time and time again, how did these houses of horror evolve in terms of use, gameplay, story, and design? Well, let's find out. Now, all of this started a long time ago. Back then, they were known as ghost, haunted, or boo houses, and are large buildings where boos and other spirits live. Now, they first appeared in Super Mario World, where there are a total of 6 in Dinosaur Land, in Donut Plains, the Vanilla Dome, on Chocolate Island, and more. So clearly they are seen a lot in this game and played a big role in general. They are one of the highlights together with the castles after all. Both of these locations had a very special vibe and set of mechanics that really makes them stand out among all others. Now, when you finally do reach one of these places and you have a Yoshi with you, he will stand outside of the ghost house while you enter. Now, the reason given in the game is that Yoshi doesn't want to go in because of his big fear of ghosts. But the real reason why this is the case is not story related, but actually because of the SNES console itself. There are some technical reasons why it doesn't work. It's because of the doors inside the ghost houses, which can't be entered while riding Yoshi, and some enemies located inside do not properly work with Yoshi. So thanks to all of this, Yoshi isn't seen in the ghost houses, which is a bit of a shame, to be honest, because he could have played an interesting role in them. Now, when you go through one of these places, you will quickly realize what their goal is, being a puzzle as well as offering a combat challenge. Every time you go in one, you have to find the exit, which can be confusing at times. And even in this place, you will find a lot of hidden pathways. There's even a secret boss found in one, which clearly shows that this played a big role in the game. The boss is known as the Big Boo, and it's the same as all the others, but just a lot bigger. And you have to use a trampoline to jump over these massive ghosts. But there are more ways of doing this. It's hiding in the secret Donut Plains ghost house and can be defeated by throwing grab blocks at its face. However, it mostly comes down to a puzzle-based challenge requiring you to find the correct path in order to progress, with combat playing a smaller role. Overall, this together with its style makes it stand out from all the other levels and locations seen in the world, making them very memorable. However, what would Nintendo do next? Super Mario World was a hit and the ghost houses were praised by many. Well, it did create a trend, because after all of this, creepy and horror-themed levels were seen a lot more in all the Super Mario games. Even entire worlds based around this concept were seen, like the Pumpkin Zone from Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins, released 2 years after Super Mario World. This place is filled with graveyards and haunted houses, and is even guarded by a witch, clearly inspired by stuff like the ghost houses seen in the previous game. And to be honest, the boss was quite fun for what it was, because the mechanics seen were quite simple. But what would be the next step? Well, after all of this, a lot of things changed. They decided to go in a bit of a different direction, creating a 3D Super Mario game where there's a level based around the boos. It's called Big Boo's Haunt, and is a 3-story mansion owned by the Big Boo located in a small cage. This is basically the game's ghost house, but now it's more a world where you go back to multiple times to solve a number of problems for stars. Overall, it doesn't really show off anything new. Sure, it's 3D and a lot bigger, and thanks to it even included a carousel, but it doesn't do anything radically different. One thing I will 100% applaud it for is the new enemies that are actually fitting and quite scary even. For example, the Mad Piano, which looks normal at first, but when the player approaches the instrument, it begins to open and close its lid, revealing sharp teeth, and proceeds to chase and attack you. So it does a good job at being scary and creating that great vibe we know and love from the ghost houses. Even the next 3D Super Mario game had something like this, because in Super Mario Sunshine we have a haunted hotel, which references the Shining horror movie even. It had ghost manta rays, a big fight with King Boo himself, and even a mission where you had to find the right path through the hotel. Clearly, it ended up combining a lot of the things seen in Big Boo's Haunt, together with mechanics from the other 2D Super Mario games. However, where would all of this go after these 3D games? We hadn't seen a 2D title in 13 years after all. That ended with Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins. Well, the 2D games returned at some point thanks to the Nintendo DS, because on this console we saw the very first new Super Mario Bros. Game. In this title, several ghost houses appear and introduce more new ghost species, such as Phantom Hands, Bruisers, and Balloon Boos. And as you can imagine, this had an impact on the level design, offering more variety in terms of enemies and a bigger focus on combat and dodging foes. The game also introduces the ghost house quirk of having boos cover up the bottom screen while you're inside, although it's not too special to be honest. Now, while new enemies were seen in this place, they also added more puzzles and interesting secrets to make them more fun. All of the ghost houses in the game even have secret exits, but no checkpoints, making it a better experience thanks to all the new routes and options, but also more challenging in ways. This is the moment where these special levels became more elaborate thanks to Nintendo adding more and more to them. A lot of the games that followed would build upon the foundation and ideas seen in the first 2D reboot of the Super Mario games. Now all of this ended up returning in the next new Super Mario Bros. Title, this time for the Wii with some minor additions to them. Something from a past game even made a return: boos flying around the ghost houses on the world map. Just like in Super Mario World. I'm not even sure why they got rid of that. It looked really nice after all and added to the world map, making places like the ghost houses more interesting before you even reached it. In this game they also introduced new enemies like the Scaredy Rats and Obake Stands, but that's not all. Because most of them have a ton of fake walls as well, which adds to the whole puzzle aspect seen in many of these places. But in time, it all became more and more complex. And this would continue for quite a while. A lot of the new Super Mario Bros. Games just added some more enemies and ways to hide secrets, but never did anything truly new. So what about the 3D games then? Well, here we finally saw some interesting things again in the ghost houses. Because in Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, we saw some interesting galaxies where boos rule the world. Here we again saw some interesting bosses, more weird and wacky mechanics, some of which are built around the motion controls, and you could even become a boo yourself. Clearly these 3D games offered a lot of new challenges, with especially the boo mushroom and motion controls being a big focus. It was quite refreshing to finally see and do something else in these ghost houses, and it's also extremely different from the one seen in the last 3D Super Mario game. Personally, I especially love the Ghostly Galaxy because of the huge amount of different objectives, all being quite different from each other. Now, from this point onward, Nintendo only did the bare minimum when making new ghost houses in the Super Mario games. Even 3D titles like Super Mario 3D Land didn't really do anything new with the established formula when making these places. But there were two things they added that are different in a way, and also quite fun additions to the games even. But remember, in the upper right corner you can find more videos to watch, so be sure to do so. There's even a playlist. But let's first finish this video. First up, a new sort of boss called Behemoth, the largest boo in the Mario franchise, and it's one of the few enemies to be completely invincible. When you encounter it, the giant ghost will start following you, forcing you to run away from it, turning this entire section into some sort of chase scene with a big focus on platforming. So sadly enough, you can't really beat him. All you can do is run. However, it still makes certain sections of the ghost houses more interesting. But personally, it would have been better in my opinion if you would be able to really fight it, like the boss scene in Super Mario World. Now another thing that was added which had a huge impact on how the ghost houses functioned is the light box. When wearing it, the lamp on the front will emit a beam of light, which can be used to not only light up any dark spaces in front of the player, but also to defeat ghost enemies. They probably took this idea from the Luigi's Mansion games, where you can use a flashlight to stun ghost enemies. Personally, I think this is a genius move, and makes the ghost houses a lot more interactive, since you can fight back now instead of having to dodge the whole time, making this a great addition to the entire game. It's so much fun to just take them out in order to make your life and the entire level a lot easier. Before that, boos were basically invincible. Well, for the most part. So Nintendo did introduce some interesting new things to it all. However, in a lot of ways, it still followed the same old new Super Mario Bros. Formula. Now, a little side note, if you want more evolution of videos, then check the upper right corner, where you will also find videos like the evolution of warp pipes and even a whole playlist. Go have a look. Because when it comes to this video, we are almost at the end. Clearly Nintendo ended up doing quite a lot of things with these weird haunted locations. mostly playing a big role in adding a puzzle aspect to the game, which wasn't seen as much before that, making these ghost houses truly unique, and the first ever mystery levels seen in the entire game filled with bonuses and secrets only a select few could find.